Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Welcome to another online lecture. This is Shahid Ali, grade 7. The subject is English. Dear students, this is video number 35 from the beginning up to now. And this is lecture number 2, English final term. Dear students, in today's lecture, inshallah, I will discuss lesson number 22, Stories of Malaysian Adventure. Inshallah, I will tell you in detail this lesson, and then inshallah, I will try to do the exercise given at the end of this lesson. Dear students, in the previous lecture, in the first lecture, the final term English course, I discussed the stories of Shakespeare's play, a lesson taken, a paragraph, a passage taken from one of the Shakespeare's famous play, The Merchant of Venice. The students, I told you in detail that lesson, and similarly, I told you all the given exercises. I hope you learned that well, and inshallah, I hope you will try today to learn today's lectures also. So, dear students, let's start today's lesson. But before starting, it is to inform you that it is necessary for all of you students that the aim of these lectures is to boost your capability and to enhance your level. So this is your foremost duty to don't waste time and to learn all these lectures, to listen them carefully, to learn them from your heart and memorize all the relevant things which is required in your coming exams. So dear students, let's start today's lesson. The lesson is lesson 22, Stories of Malaysian Adventure. Dear students, in this story, the author and similarly the author and with some of his friends, they went to a jungle where they faced, especially the author, the writer of the story, they faced bees and hive of bees, so they got them in fierce mood, and the bees attacked them, and the bees were chasing them, and they ran from these bees to save their life. So, dear student, in this lesson, basically the stories of the author and the bees is described. So let's start the story. Stories of the Malaysian adventure. The story the stories in this book are set in Malaysia about 70 years ago. These stories were written or were set 70 years ago in Malaysia. Many of the stories are true and they give us some idea of what life was like in those far days. Some of these stories were near to true, and these stories shows which kind of life was in the early days. Here is a passage from the author's account. This is the writer account of jungle journey. So dear student, this lesson or this passage is taken from the author account of jungle journey. Jungle journey. Leaning forward to look over Jacob's shoulder, I saw On the other bank, half a dozen yards away, half a dozen yards away, a strange black and yellow patch. Strange black and yellow patch. It had a strange furry appearance and seemed to move restlessly as if it were alive. All this I saw in a moment without knowing what I was looking at. This is the experience of the writer, he tells us in this passage. Then, without any warning, the page rose into the air like a black and yellow carpet and came at us. At the same time, there was a humming sound, the sound of bees, a humming sound, and then we saw that the carpet was really a swarm of bees. This was the collection of bees made with rage and thirsting for food. Okay, they were what? They were made. The bees, swarm of bees. They were made with rage. Okay, and they were they thirsting for food. Okay, they were moving for food. Jacob, hiding his head in his arms, turned round quickly and charged away, nearly knocking me off my legs. I followed at full speed, broke through the others who did not yet know what was happening, rushed out of the little belt of jungle that we had just entered, and ran for my life across a patch of short grass. For a moment I thought that I had felt my enemy behind, and I turned to watch the others yelling like madmen and beating the air wildly with their hands. Another moment, they were escaping themselves from the stings of the bees, moving their hands wildly, their hands. Another moment, and I was again running for my life. I pulled off my hat and struck with it at the cloud of bees. The author was also trying to escape to save himself from the bees, and for this purpose he used his hat also. All the time I ran as fast as my legs would carry me. He used his power, full power, to run away from the bees. But the bees would not be left behind. They plunged their stings deep into my shirt. They was again and again beating the Arthur, and into this thick cloth of my jungle trousers. They stung my bare arms, hands, and neck without mercy, and I had the greatest difficulty in keeping them off my face and eyes. I was panting for breath and felt that I could go no further. Because of the bees, the author was in great trouble. He was trying to save himself, he was running, he was moving the bees, he was moving his hand, using his head so that he can keep bees away from himself. But the bees were again and again beating him. They stung his bare arms, hands, and neck, and they were feeling no mercy. The bees, they were doing their job. I was beginning to feel something like real fear when suddenly I caught sight of the water of the Ringai, a little river which flows through these forests to the Lepis. Take to the water! Take to the water! I shouted to the howling men. Those men, they were also running and were trying to save themselves from the bees, the author says that he shouted to them, "Take to the water, take to the water." As I passed to slip off my pistol belt, in which I kept my watch, compass, money, tobacco, and other belongings, I received many more stings. Then I pushed. Then I plunged head first into the shallow water. The other came after me, but after them came the army of bees, stinging, stinging wherever they saw bare flesh. So, dear students, up to here in this lesson, we learned that the bees were chasing the author and his friend. The author ran as good he can, as he can run. He run until he reached water, a stream, a river, and he jumped into the water and shouted to his friend also to take to the water. But the bees stinging whenever they saw a bare part of their body, bare flesh. I was out of breath by the I was out of breath by the time I had jumped into the water. The author says like this. I could not keep under for more than a few seconds, but when I rose to the surface, the bees were still there. They were still roaming there on the surface of the water, more angry than ever, and I was driven under again, my lungs sobbing for air, shortage of oxygen because the author was in the water. Again I rose, again I was attacked, again driven underwater. My heart was leaping, my heart was leaping about in my body like some wild thing trying to escape. I was quickly becoming desperate. The thought flashed across my mind that to be drowned or stung to death in a small stream by a swarm of tiny insects was a ridiculous way to die. Now, this is the thinking of the author. He thought that this is a ridiculous dying because of the teeny insects and because in a small stream, this dying is what ridiculous dying. Yet it seemed that this was to be my end. As I came sobbing to the surface to meet still another angry attack, I heard Saleh, the head boatman, shout through a branch for them to settle on. The words were in my ears as the bees made me dive again, and in a flash I understood. I struggled to the bank, pulled by a branch from an overhanging tree, threw it on the surface of the stream, and dived once more. One or two of them did the same. I stayed under the water as long as I could. And when I came up this time, half dead, I saw several branches floating merrily downstream, covered tree deep by struggling and stinging bees. I rose to my feet, waded to the bank, and for a good quarter of an hour sat there panting and coughing and fighting to get my breath back. We felt very sorry for ourselves indeed, and we felt even worse when one of our party, whom we had thought to be dead, came in half an hour later completely unharmed. He had seen the bees coming, he told us, and had sat down and remained quite still to await their attack. They had covered him from head to foot, but a bee knows that using its sting usually kills it, and therefore it never stings until it is sure that the hive is in danger. So the cloud bees had settled all over the man and had then passed on, leaving him unharmed. So, dear students, this was the lesson. This was a passage taken from the stories A Malaysian Adventure, where the author went to a jungle journey. There he, with his company, faced the hive of bees, and they ran from them to escape themselves. And similarly, the bees chased them until they went to the water, and the bees were stinging them again and again, again and again. And at the end, they threw some branches of the tree to the water, and the bees sat on them, and they escaped from the stinging of bees and went to the bank of the river. And similarly, after hard struggle, they got their breath normal. So, dear student, uh, the other party are the remaining friends of the author. They came 1.5 hour later without unharmed. Why? Because they sat down. They sat down on the ground when the bees attacked them, and they did not run. So the bees chased those they were running, and so the remaining party came later unharmed. So, dear student, this was a passage taken from the stories in Malaysian Adventure by the author. Now, here in the exercise, at the end, the exercise comprehension and vocabulary are given. So, dear students, I mention here all the required answers. The given questions, comprehension and vocabulary. You can see exercise number A, answer key. Number one, here is a list of the useful phrase. Find them in the passage. They are in the same order, and then use them in the sentence of your own. So these are the phrases without any warning. Mad with rage, at full speed, ran for my life, as fast as my legs could carry me, out of breath, more angry than ever. You may use other adjectives, more frightened than ever, etc. We felt very sorry for ourselves in danger. So these are the phrases. Here I use them in the sentences so that you can understand them better. Number one, without any warning, the light went out. Without any warning, the lights went out. Number two, the elephant was made with rage and charging into the forest. The elephant was made with rage and charging into the forest. Number three, the ambulance drove at full speed. Here used the ambulance drove at full speed through the rush hour traffic. Number four, I ran for my life away from the tsunami after the earthquake. Ran for my life is used here. I ran to the goal as fast as my legs could carry me. This is used as fast as my legs could carry me. I ran to the goal as fast as my legs could carry me. Next is I flew head first from the bicycle onto the road, but fortunately I was wearing a helmet. Number seven, the man was out of breath by the time he got to the bus stop. Number eight, when I learned that my visa had expired and I could not get on the plane, I was more upset than ever. I was more upset than ever. We felt very sorry for ourselves because we had lost the match. We felt very sorry for ourselves because we had lost the match. Number 10 and the last, sharks are in danger of extinction. So, dear student, this was exercise number 8. The comprehension and vocabulary used in the proper sentences so that give you fruitful meaning so that you can understand it. Here is exercise number B. Dear student, this is the exercise number B. More okay. So the sentences are who was nearest to the bees when they were first seen. So here, dear student, the question answers are required. And I mentioned here below the answers of these given questions. The answer number one is Jacob was closest to the bees when they were first seen. Number two. Number two is Number two is everyone knows what a bee look like. Why did the writer not see at once what they were? So the answer is the writer could not see individual bees because they were close together in a swarm. Number three, who was the first to realize the danger? Who were the last to do so? The answer is Jacob was the first to realize the danger, and the group which was a little away realized much later. Number four, the author does not use the phrase every man for himself, but he might have done. At what point in the story might he have used it? So the answer is the author could have used it in the second paragraph when each was concerned about how to defend himself from the bee attack. Number five, what was his greatest fear? His greatest fear was that he would die. Number six, why did he take off his belt? He took off his belt as it contained valuable which would be spoiled by the water. Number seven, jumping into the stream seemed a good idea, but in the water the danger was just as great. Explain why this was so. So the answer is drowning in the stream would be ridiculous because it was a small shallow one, and death by bee sting was also ridiculous as bees are teeny creatures that look incapable of causing death. Number nine, explain why Saleh idea was such a good one. The answer is Saleh idea was a good one because over water the bees did not have any place to land, and so they would wait for the victim to come out of the water and sting them. Number 10, explain your own words why the bee did not sting the man who kept still. The answer is a bee usually dies after it stings a person, and so it will only sting when it knows for certain that the person intend to harm it how. The man knowing this kept absolutely still, indicating to the bees that that he meant no injury to them or to their harm. So, dear students, this was exercise number B, where the answers are demanded. I mentioned here the given questions answer in detail. Next is, dear students, exercise number A, that is change these sentences into the past. Number A, into the future. Number B, using the time phrases given. So, dear students, here the sentences are given I can dance when I was younger, B when I have had some lesson. So here it is given I could able to dance when I was younger, or I was able to dance when I was younger. This is number A. And number B, I shall be able to dance when I have had some lessons. Number two, they can do it A last week, B next week. So here is number two. They could able, they could able to do it last week, or they were able to do it last week. And number B, they will be able to do it next week. Here is sentence number 3. He can jump 5 feet. A, last year. B, next year. So he could able to jump. He could able to jump 5 feet last year, or he was able to jump 5 feet last year. And number B, he will be able to jump 5 feet next year. This is will be used. So why here it will come next year, as mentioned in the sentence also. Next year, it is future. He will be able to jump 5 feet next year. Number 4 sentence is he can run for 5 miles without stopping. A, when he was in good health. B, when he has had some more training. So here is he could able to run for 5 miles without stopping when he was in good health. Or he was able to run for 5 miles without stopping when he was in good health. Similarly, it is B, he will be able to run for 5 miles without stopping when he has had some more training. Number 5 sentence is, dear student, here mentioned he can sell his goods for a good price. A, when people wanted them. B, next year. So here is the answer. He could able to see his goods for a good price when people wanted them, or he was able to sell his goods for a good price when people wanted them. Similarly, the B answer of this sentence is he will be able to sell his goods for a good price next year. So next year in B is demanded, and it is used here in this sentence. Number 6, I can understand. A, when she explained it. B, when she explains it tomorrow. So here is the answer. I could able to understand when she explained it, or I was able to understand when she explained it. Similarly, it tomorrow is mentioned in sentence number B. I will be able to understand when she explains it tomorrow. Dear students, sentence number 7. He can ride the horse. A, when somebody held it. B, if somebody hold it for him. Both we will use here down. Number 7. A, he could able to ride the horse when somebody held it. Or he was able to ride the horse when somebody held it. Similarly, number B sentence, he will be able to ride the horse if somebody holds it for him. Number 8, he can pay his bills. A, when he had money. B, when he gets some money. So here is the change the sentence. A, he could able to pay his bills when he had the money, or he was able to pay his money when he had the money. Number B, he will be able to pay his bills when he gets some money. Number 9 sentence, I can drive a car. Number A, when I had a license. B, when I have had some more lessons. Here is the change sentences. A, I could able to drive a car when I had a license. Or I was able to drive a car when I had a license. Here, number B, I will be able to drive a car when I have had some more lessons. The last sentence is I can write neatly. A, when I was in the primary school. B, when I have bought a new pen. Both we will use in the sentence here. I will be okay, dear students. I could able to write neatly when I was in the primary school. And number next, I was able to write neatly when I was in the primary school. Dear student, this was a long exercise consisting each sentence of three kinds of sentences given here in the exercise. one statement or one sentence is given, then demanded in two ways to change it. So here I change in detail each sentence twice or two times, and then in the B example given in the last of the sentence, I change them according to the requirement. Now complete these sentences by adding could have with the past participle of the verb given. The first is done for you. So here, dear students, these are the examples given. I could have gone yesterday, but I did not want to go. So here we will use we could have gone much more food. Number two will come here. We could have eaten much more food, but there was not any more. Okay, so it will come could have eaten. Number third is I dash the examination easily if I had taken it. So I could have passed the examination easily if I had taken it. Number four, we dashed the match if we had tried a little harder. So the answer, these words will come in the given space. We could have passed the examination. This is done now. Number four, we could have won. We could have won the match if we had tried a little harder. Number five, she dashed in time if she had walked a little faster. So given words, the correct words are she would have, she could have been, she could have been in time if she had walked a little faster. Then you dash me, but you were not there. So here, you could have helped me, but you were not here. There. Now, sentence number seven. I dashed to you, but I did not know your address. So here I could have written to you, but I did not know your address. Number eight. You dashed the book yesterday when you finished it. So here you could have returned the book yesterday when you finished it. Dear student, sentence number nine, I space you the news if you had asked me. So I could have told you the news if you had asked me. And the last space, the last sentence is we dash some tea if we had had some hot water. So these words will come. We could have made some tea if we had had some hot water. Dear students, this was exercise number B, the given space, and these words are demanded. I wrote them here in detail. You will put these words in the given space, and a correct and good sentence will come to you. This is another exercise. Change the sentences as in the example. This is exercise number C. Example is given here. I went home. I ought to have gone home, but I didn't. I did not. So here given sentences, I change them here below. You can see we help them. We help them. Help him. Helped him. So we ought to have helped him, but we did not. I changed them like the given example. We finished the work. We ought to have finished the work, but we did not. I asked my father. I ought to have asked my father, but I did not. She warned me. I ought, she ought to have warned me, but she did not. I wrote to her, so I ought to have written to her, but I did not. He played in the school team. He ought to have played in the school team, but he did not. They waited outside. They ought to have waited outside, but they did not. My brother won a scholarship. My brother ought to have won a scholarship, but he did not. I listened to his advice. I ought to have listened to his advice, but I did not. The last sentence is I did it again. It is changed here. I ought to have done it again, but I did not. Dear students, these sentences are here changed as required in the example. Now here, exercise number D, complete these sentences by adding either the present perfect tense of have, had, the past perfect, had. So here, students, dear students, 10 sentences given. You can see the spaces there. So the correct words of the perfect tense, present perfect tense, or the past perfect tense demanded are required here. I wrote them here in detail. It is written here. You can see, and you will put these words by number in the given sentences. Number one, this is when we have had a meal, we shall begin work again. Number two, after I have had a haircut, I shall go to home. Number three, when they had a drink, they sit off once more. Number four, he was late because he had had some trouble with his bicycle. Number five, now that we have had a holiday, we are ready to begin work again. Number six, they had so much to eat that they could hardly walk. Number seven is you cannot see another party. You you had had you have had just one. Number eight, he refused a drink because he had already one. He had already had one. Like this, it will come. Similarly, number nine is have you had a drink because, okay, this had, number nine, have you had a bath yet? Yes, I have had one. I have just had one. Number 10 is when I arrived, they had already had a dinner. Had dinner. So, dear students, here the required condition of the present perfect tense or past perfect tense given here in detail. You will put them in the above sentences spaces and you will get the correct sentence. Let's come to the last screen. This is, dear students, the last exercise. Add have or had to these sentences. So here 8 sentences are given, spaces in them you can find. Here at the end I put it. I wrote the words which is required in these sentences. I must dash my shoes mended, so I must have my shoes mended. Have welcome. He has had his hair cut at last. Had will come in the second space. We are going to have our house painted. So have will come here. She went to have her eyes tested. So have will come here in this space. Number five, you ought to have that shirt washed. Have will come in the fifth one. Number six, she has had her dress shortened. Had will come in here in this space. Number seven, why don't you have a photograph taken? Have will come in the seventh space. And the last space, where did you have your fountain pen repaired? So have will come. You have your fountain pen repaired. Have will come here in the last phase. So dear students, this was this was the last exercise. I told you in detail all the requirement I mentioned in the exercise. Now it is your duty to understand them well, to write them, to memorize them, to read them again and again, so that you can enhance your level and to boost your capability. Inshallah, you will find this lecture useful. See you in the next lecture. Up to date. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.